In today's video, we will be taking a look at another 2024 presidential election prediction, but this time if the 2024 general election was held today, September the 21st, 2023. So without further ado, let's get right into today's video. Now, first off, if the election was held today, I definitely do believe Joe Biden and Donald Trump will be the nominees on both political parties, respectively. Joe Biden as the incumbent, and Donald Trump as the 45th President of the United States. If the primaries were held today, the results wouldn't even be close. So let's start off with Donald Trump's likely states because he is behind the electoral vote count. Let's start off with the states of Alaska and South Carolina. Both of these states voted for Trump by double digits in 2020, Alaska by 10 and South Carolina by nearly 12. Next two likely states here will be Iowa and Ohio. Both of these states voted for Donald Trump by 8% over Joe Biden. We see that Trump did very well in both of these states, which were previously considered bellwethers. Trump did really well in many of the working class regions, as well as the rural voters. Now going to the next likely Republican state here, it will be the state of Texas. I do believe Texas will go to the Republican Party by a likely margin. The state of Texas only voted for Donald Trump by 5.6 points. That's a pretty weak margin compared to what pretty much Republicans have previously experienced in past elections, where they have been able to win by upwards of 15 percentage points. Nonetheless, I do believe that the state, as of right now, will probably still vote for Donald Trump by a similar margin of 5 to 6 points. Now going to the state of Florida. Now in 2024, when the election will be held, not in this scenario, but in 2024, we would see the Republican trend really weigh in, and we could see Trump win by upwards of 10 percentage points. If the election was held today, I don't think the trend will be that great. Nonetheless, I do believe Donald Trump will still end up winning the state of Florida by a likely margin of about 7 to 8 percentage points. Now going to Joe Biden's likely states, Colorado, New Mexico, and Virginia. I don't think really it needs to be discussed here, but all three of these states voted for Joe Biden by at least 10.8 points, that being the state of New Mexico, 13.5 in the state of Colorado, and 10.1 points in the state of Virginia. We do see that means second district will probably vote for Donald Trump, but means that large vote will vote for Joe Biden. That's not also much of a surprise. Finally, in the state of Minnesota, I do believe if the election was held today, that Joe Biden would also win the state of Minnesota. We see that the state is probably slightly Republican trending, but many of the Minneapolis suburbs here are definitely going to hold for the Democratic Party and going to end up giving Joe Biden a 5% plus victory in the state of Minnesota. I further believe that the state of New Hampshire here will be a likely state for Joe Biden because right now, if you just look at the 2020 margin, we see that Democrats did very well, won all but two counties in the state, and I do believe that really someone like Donald Trump will not be able to appease voters in New Hampshire. He said some negative things about the state of New Hampshire, and that's probably going to end up hurting him in the presidential election level, as it did in 2020, as the state trended blue by a substantial margin. Now going to these lean and tilt states, starting with the state of Nevada. In the state of Nevada here, this is a very close one. Joe Biden won the state by 2.4 points, but the state is trending red. If we look at some of the trends here, we do see Clark County, the largest county by far, trended red by 1.4 points. Not the largest trend, but still nonetheless a trend, especially considering 2020 was overall a more favorable year for Democrats than 2016. However, the trend wouldn't be as great if the election was held in today, so I do believe that the state of Nevada will probably go to the Democratic Party. Now going to the state of Arizona. This is pretty much an opposite example. We see that the state trended blue by 5 points thanks to largely these two counties, which both trended blue by 5.0 points in Maricopa and 5.1 points in the county of Pima. So that will be for the state of Arizona. Now, I do believe that the state, again, the trends won't be as significant. In this case, it will probably end up favoring Donald Trump because Trump is the one who is the Republican and the one who is probably going to lose ground as time goes on in a state like Arizona. Nonetheless, I do believe Joe Biden will be able to win the state of Arizona because right now I just don't think Republicans have the best situation, essentially. Now to the state of Georgia. Again, 2024 election will probably be more favorable for Democrats in the state that it would be right now, because the longer the time period is, the more the state will trend to the Democratic Party with the Atlanta region. Nonetheless, I still believe Democrats are probably going to be favored in the state of Georgia because, again, Democrats and Republicans right now, I don't think both of them are really, neither of these parties are performing very well. So it just seems like that I still do believe that Democrats will end up winning the state of Georgia. Although the situation isn't that good for Democrats, I just don't see Republicans end up winning the state right now. Now, for the state of North Carolina, I do believe that because Donald Trump did end up winning the state by 1.3 points in 2020, and really there's nothing too much going for the Democratic Party, I do believe the state will end up going for Donald Trump. Now, going to the state of Wisconsin. Now, the longer the election is pushed back, the more favorable this could be for Donald J. Trump, because the state is trending to the Republican Party. If you just look at trends, many of Ron Hyde's district being here is trending to the Republican Party, and we do see some of the wild counties to trend blue, but many of these trends are not going to be able to hold. Nonetheless, I do believe that Donald Trump probably still narrowly favored in the state of Wisconsin, though it's going to be a really close one in this situation. Now, Nebraska's 2nd district is also very interesting. This district has been trending blue by a very substantial margin, and really, I don't think they're the most supportive of Joe Biden at this point in time. Nonetheless, I think they're going to vote for him over Donald Trump. Now, going to the state of Michigan. The state of Michigan, we do see that Republicans obviously doing very well in the rural areas, Democrats doing pretty well in the urban areas, and Democrats also doing pretty well in some of the suburban areas such as Oakland County, Genesee County, and Kent County. Those are counties that will probably end up carrying Joe Biden to victory in a state like Michigan. I do not believe that Donald Trump will be able to win the state if the election was held today or in 2024, because this is definitely by far the most liberal state out of the 3 Rust Belt states. Therefore, the state will go to Joe Biden. Now, state of Michigan, the state of Pennsylvania is somewhere between the states of Wisconsin and Michigan. The state voted 1.2 points for Joe Biden, as opposed to 0.7 points in the state of Wisconsin or 2.8 points in the state of Michigan. The state, I would say, closely resembles the state of Michigan closer. I think that there is a large batch of Democratic votes in the Philadelphia area, as well as the Allegheny County region. Now, many of the rural areas in the state of Pennsylvania are actually quite red compared to the states of Wisconsin or Michigan. If the rural areas in those 2 states were as red as Pennsylvania, those 2 states would not be in play. Now, I do believe that Democrats will probably do very well in the suburban areas as well as the urban areas, potentially do better in Philadelphia County than what Joe Biden did in 2020. He underperformed Hillary Clinton by 3.5 points. But I do believe that Donald Trump will probably be able to overperform even more in some of the rural regions. Overall speaking, I do believe that still Joe Biden will probably carry the state of Pennsylvania and end up winning the election 293 to 245. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.